So I know it's been a while since my last video, and maybe some of you are probably wondering why. You can stop guessing now because I made a photo documentary to explain exactly what happened to me and my family a few weeks back. Let's get into it. So about a month ago, almost the entire household got infected by the COVID-19 virus. My mother, my son, and myself. My brother, who's living in another house, also had the virus. It all started with my mom being sick on March 27th, and it lasted for a few days. She stayed in her room during those days. She then felt better one day, so she thought it was just a common fever. We went back to our usual routine, ate together, chilled in her room. She played with our grandson, and so on. But by midnight, her temperature rose up again. Then she started coughing, runny nose, and she felt really tired. She isolated herself once more, and in my head, I felt something was up. On April 2, we heard that my cousin, who works with my mom, was also sick and had taken the COVID-19 RT-PCR test. On that same day, I asked my mother to take the test as well. I proceeded and booked an appointment for the test. This is where I started documenting. The results came back 24 hours later. My mother tested positive. She was talking to my sister over the phone when I broke the news. She was devastated, a natural response. My cousin was also positive of COVID-19. The next day, I had my family tested. 24 hours later, the results came back. Me and my wife tested negative, but my 2-year-old son tested positive. My wife and I looked at each other, frozen for a while. I recomposed myself and told my wife what we needed to do. We decided we all isolate from each other. My son and my wife will take the second floor of the house. I'll be on the ground floor next to my mom's room to care for her. I took this image before I went downstairs to start our isolation. So every day I bring food to everyone. This was our breakfast. My son's symptoms was only a runny nose. He sneezes once in a while too. But that's it, nothing else. He seemed fine and energetic. I ate my food downstairs, kept my laptop on for some YouTube and Netflix goodness. I was the one always outside, either riding my bike or taking photographs. I also do the groceries for all of us, but strangely, my mom, who only stay either her room or her office, no outdoor activities, was the first one to catch the virus. And my brother, who only went to get his bike from our house, tested positive few days later. So this is our living area where I'm temporarily staying for the duration of our isolation. Right next to it is my mom's room. The same morning, my wife called me and asked if I heard the news about my best friend's cousin passing away due to COVID-19. His father died less than 2 weeks ago before he did, also because of the virus. I sent my condolences to my friend. He replied with how painful it is for him. I couldn't finish what I was going to reply to him because I was struggling to find the right words to say to him. So every day I bring food and other things to the table we place on the stair landing. Here's my wife grabbing the food. She will then reheat the food on the electric stove or microwave we had placed inside one of the bedrooms upstairs. Here's a photo of my wife. I was actually laughing at her for wearing a Speedo goggles. I thought it was hilarious and a little over the top. But guess what? She was the only one who didn't caught the virus within our household. Days later, I caught the virus too. I'll talk about that later in this video. And after every dinner, we would call and check up on each other. Being alone and isolated with not much to do will make you emotional. I cried hard watching the movie Green Mile. When I miss my son, I go half the staircase and call him just to see him. Alright, here's a photo of me in my office slash bedroom slash dining room slash entertainment lounge. That's a picture of my mom. She's no longer feverish, just a little coughing. The biggest problem at this point is she doesn't want to eat. And she did look like she lost a lot of weight in this picture. And here's me enjoying the food while staring at the wallpaper. Well, actually, I'm watching a kid eat, so I don't feel alone while eating. Here's a photo of a conversation between me and my siblings. My brother is updating us that he's starting to lose his sense of taste and smell. I told him to keep eating even though he couldn't taste a thing. Here's more photos of my son. Honestly, he looks very healthy. My wife said he doesn't have the runny nose anymore and he's bubbly as usual. This is about 10 days after his first symptom appeared. I believe he's fully recovered at this point. So about our groceries and food supplies, we're lucky that there's a grocery store nearby that offers online services. You buy the goods online and they deliver at our doorsteps. My mom also misses his grandson, so I would set up a group video call so we can talk to each other. But mainly my mom talking to my son. Here's a photo of my mom eating her dinner. She is starting to gain her appetite back. It's been 15 days since her symptoms appeared. She is getting better every day. Another bad news came. This time it's my close friend back in high school. His father passed away. I'm not sure if this is COVID related, but nevertheless, I feel very bad for my friend. Just over a year ago, his mother also passed away. On April 9, my sense of taste and smell weakened. The following day, I lost 100% of it. This is a picture of me checking my oxygen level. I'm most likely infected by the virus now. Thankfully, the worst symptoms I experience is just losing my sense of taste and smell. No headache, no fever, maybe a little tiredness. Here's me doing the steam inhalation thing. It's a popular home remedy to open up the nasal passages. It's believed to help cure the virus too, but I don't have any scientific proof to back it up. I just tried it because my wife told me to do so. My clogged nose actually worsened after that. I didn't tell my wife. That's my wife grabbing some supplies from the pantry. She doesn't go down the house unless she needs to. This is to keep us all safe from each other. Because everyone is sick except my wife, we asked my sister-in-law to prepare our food in separate packages. That way, it's easier for me to distribute the food to the family without contaminating the food. Bad news kept coming. My wife's grandfather passed away due to COVID-19. He was 93 years old. After his death, 18 more of my wife's relatives tested positive. There were no family gathering that had happened, but still the virus caught up to them. After a couple of weeks later, one of the sons of the grandfather, my wife's uncle, also passed away due to COVID-19. This is our stairway leading to the second floor. Sometimes I just stand there watching my son play. Sometimes I just listen to the noise he makes. Being away with my family is way worse than the symptoms I am experiencing. Here's a photo of all the medicines and vitamins I take for the day. Some I take once a day, some up to 3 times a day. I take my temperature and oxygen levels regularly, and fortunately it's always normal. Here's my portrait. We agreed to always wear our mask on, even we're inside the house. Here's another picture of me pretending like I'm working. On April 18th, my mother went to take the RT-PCR test again. And the next day, we got the test results back. And she tested negative. She's now COVID free. She's so happy she went straight to the garden and watered her plants. At this point, I was feeling a lot better. My sense of taste and smell is about 30% better, although it goes on and off. I'm probably COVID free as well, but my wife and I decided to keep resting for another week. Hence the photo of my wife and son looking out from the window. Since I can't go up yet, I'm fine speaking to them from where I am standing. Here's another portrait of me trying to sniff the hell out of this Vicks Vapor Rub and the Tiger Balm. Sometimes my smell drops to zero, mostly at night. This is one of my close friend's stories on Facebook. Compared to us, he had it rougher. His entire family caught the virus. They had high fever and some needed the assistance of an oxygen tank. I'm glad that they are well now and everyone had recovered. So throughout my isolation, I've developed a routine and every night was movie night for me. Before I sleep, I watch at least one movie or get trapped into the YouTube rabbit hole for hours until I fall asleep. There are days my son would call me and I genuinely feel happy when he does. I'm in over 14 days of not seeing my family. A lot of times you're going to feel lonely. These are my companions, a fish who my brother said was a shark, and he just revealed to us that it's a catfish after over a decade. And a cat who seemed nice at first but tried to scratch me when I tried to pet him. So no more free food for this guy. That's me again and my isolation room setup. I have almost everything that I need on this table. Here's another photo of my wife and son before we go to bed. And by bed, I mean another hour of conspiracy theories on YouTube for me. That's my son showing off his skateboard skills. On April 26, my wife and I went to the testing lab again to see if I'm clear of the virus already. It's been 17 days since I first had the symptoms. But before we go, I saw a news about India getting over 300,000 people testing positive and people are dying before they get admitted to the hospital. This is by far one of the worst and unbelievable news I've ever seen. My swab test results came back on April 27th and I tested negative. Finally, I can go see my family again. But before I see them, I went and cleaned the house first. Here's me with the living room back in order. COVID is real, folks. Whether you believe it or not, just be careful. If not for yourself, at least for the people close to you. My family dodged a major bullet on this one, having only minor symptoms, but the fact that almost everyone in the house got infected says how contagious the virus is. Mentally, it's traumatic, I would say. When we have to leave the house, we never feel safe. We still wear masks inside our own house, imagine that. We used to eat together on our dining table, now we don't do that anymore. So please be careful when you go out, be careful when you're back. So that's my story, and boy, I'm glad that wasn't exciting at all. See you in the next episode. Peace.